We begin with a developing story in the country's north. Israel's military responding to a security incident in the Mount Dov area on the border with Lebanon. The IDF giving instructions to the residents along the Israeli side of the Blue Line to stay at home and to discontinue any work outside. Now, the incident comes as IDF troops have been on high alert in recent days following threats by the Hezbollah terror group that it will respond to Monday's killing of a top Hezbollah fighter in Syria. The terror group is blaming the death on Israeli airstrikes. And joining us with more is ABC News correspondent Jordana Miller. Jordana, we've been hearing about an infiltration attempt by Hezbollah fighters. What can you tell us?
Well, Tracy, here's what we know from the spokesman of the Israeli Defense Forces, Jonathan Conricus. He has essentially said that there was a group, a cell, a terror cell, a Hezbollah cell that infiltrated into Israeli territory. They crossed the informal border, what's called the Blue Line, and they were spotted by IDF troops. And they were killed, fired on, before they were able to carry out any kind of terror attack or attack on Israeli soldiers. He confirmed that no Israelis were injured in the incident. It's not clear if all of those suspected militants were killed or not. But the real question now, Tracy, is whether or not this failed attack will be enough for Hezbollah to kind of climb down from the tree of their threats to take some kind of revenge for the killing of that top soldier fighter last week, or whether they will try to mount another attack in the days ahead. Military officials here are saying that they are still going to be on high alert and that perhaps many tense days lie ahead. So that's an indication that it seems that the Israeli Defense Forces does not believe this is over yet.
Certainly, we know that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Defense Minister Benny Gantz have moved to the Army headquarters for security consultations. How is Israel likely to respond to this? This is a very grave incident.
It is a grave incident, but we have to remember, Tracy, that neither Israel nor Hezbollah is interested in any kind of real wide-scale or large escalation or, God forbid, a war. Israel's in the middle of trying to fight a very strong second wave of COVID-19. The Prime Minister is facing a lot of nationwide anger over what many say is his failed response to that. And, of course, the controversy that is still stirring over his corruption trial. And those are a lot of political and health issues. And on the other side of the border, Lebanon is facing protests, many problems, an economic crisis, really, that it has not seen probably in decades. And Hezbollah itself is very thin. They're stretched in helping in Syria, in Lebanon. They're getting less funds from Iran. I mean, this whole incident is really about saving face for Hezbollah because they do believe Israel killed one of its top fighters last week. But what that will mean, we'll have to wait and see. But I don't believe at this point, there is a real fear of a wider escalation.
And details are continuing to emerge. So for local residents, more information is available by dialing 104 from any Israeli phone. Jordana Miller, thank you for that insight.
Thanks, Tracy.